Now I want to show you that arrays behave like objects, okay? But in the case of arrays, instead of properties that we can access with some keys, in this case we have x and y, so I can access object1.x. I can access the value in the object through some name that I gave it before. In the case of arrays, it works a little bit different. It works with indexes, but it behaves the same way just like objects. I can access an index inside an array, and it holds some value. It points to some place in the memory. So I'm creating an array A that on index 0 has an object, and on index 1 has a value, primitive value, 67. Now I'm saying let B equals A at index 0. Index 0 points to an object. So now both A at index 0 and B point to the same object in the memory. B.age equals 25. I'm using B to access the same object in the memory that we have here inside the array, and I'm saying age equals 25. So if I will console log A, it will give me an object that plays 0 with age 25 because I changed it through B, and the value 67, which I didn't touch yet. Okay. So even though I'm using arrays here, I'm kind of complicating everything. The same logic applies. A at place 0 or at index 0 is pointing to the same object in the memory as B. So if I'm using B to change the object or to change the property inside the object, I'm also changing the object inside the array because it's the same object. Now let's move forward. I'm doing let C equals A at place 1. Now keep in mind, A at index 1 equals 67. 67 is a primitive value, it's not an object. When it comes to primitive values, JavaScript creates a copy. It doesn't create a reference to the same place in the memory. It takes the value, copies it to a new place, and then C is pointing to this new place in the memory. So if I'm changing C or I'm assigning a new value to C, I'm not touching A. A doesn't change. I will console log A. A will be the same. Age 25. And the number is still 67, even though I changed C here. Now, what happens if I change A at place 0? I'm saying now A at index 0 equals this string, hey. The object will no longer be at index 0. Instead, we will have hey. And indeed, if I will console log A, I will get hey and 67. But what will happen if I will console log B? Again, feel free to pause the video and think about it. So if I will console log B, let's try to remember what is the value of B. B is assigned a value at line 5, and the value, it's the object here. And even though I changed A at place 0 to be this string here, I didn't change B. If you imagine in your mind, we have the variables world with a B variable inside of it, and B is pointing to this object. Even though we changed A at place 0, different place in the memory, we didn't change it. We still have B pointing to the same place in the memory, to this object. So if I will console log B, B it's age 25, Y 25, because we changed the object here on line 6, okay? So arrays and arrays indexes work just like objects and objects properties.